I am so happy to cook with you today, Deepa.
I know. The feeling is mutual, John.
I first met you, I guess, when you were on The View, on the Suncoast View, and you were cooking. And
that's right.
The food you made was amazing.
That's what I like to hear. That's fantastic.
So what are you doing for us today?
So today I'm making a simple version of an Indian classic known as samosas, which are these triangle pastries.
Which are delicious.
With Indian food.
Love them. May I?
Of course.
Why not?
Of course, of course. And although they're not hard to make, they can be a bit finicky to make, and they're time consuming, and they're deep fried. So I've simplified this because my whole aim is to show how easy Indian food is to cook at home. So what I've done here is I wanted to keep the same textures and the flavors that we find in samosas. So what I decided to do is use a wonton wrapper baked for 5 minutes.
Oh, I like that. So they're not deep fried.
So they're not deep fried and they still remain crispy. And then all we do is we make a filling. And then once the filling is cooled down, we can fill up our wonton cups and
well, let's get to that filling. How do we do that?
Okay, so we have some onions sizzling away in here, which are browning. And to that, I'm going to add some fresh garlic and ginger that I'm just pounding into a paste here.
Okay.
With Indian food, it is so important.
I can help you do that while you go on to some. Yep, I'll be happy.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
So once we brown off the onions, we're going to add that. And then we're going to fry that off for about 10 seconds before we add the rest of the ingredients.
And what are the rest of the ingredients that you'll be adding?
Okay, so we're going to add some lemon juice, some salt, some tomato paste, some ground beef today we're going to be using.
Okay.
And we're also going to be doing some fantastic garnishes, which I think make the dish.
Put it right in?
Put it in.
Got about 2 minutes left.
Fantastic. Okay, here we go.
And I know in TV time it'd probably take longer in actual time. How long would you actually saute that if you had?
You'd probably saute it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm going to add the beef and we're going to mix that around. You can probably smell how delicious it is right now.
It does smell good. And that you just added was tomato paste? Is that what that was?
Tomato paste and then some water. See, I'm saying tomato now. Getting me all Americanized.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
So we'll mix that up and basically it will simmer and I am going to show you one that I made earlier, given that we don't have much time today. So this is what it will end up looking like because the water will evaporate, we'll add our spices, the recipe of course is online. So all we're going to do is get our wonton wrapper. We have to make sure that our filling is cooled down, otherwise we'll have a soggy bottom on this.
We don't want that. Nobody wants that. No. Now let me ask you. I'm going to make time for this. I want to talk a little bit about the spices that you're using here. Garam masala.
Garam masala.
Tell us about that.
Which basically means heat. Garam does. So these are like hot spices that we use. Not hot as in spicy, but just as in aromatic. So this garam masala is essentially an Indian food. It's a combination of black cardamom, there's some cloves in there, fenugreek seeds, some coriander seeds, some cumin. We also use nutmeg and some green cardamom here. And we all make different versions of this. I, of course, recommend mine, but quite biased.
Well, it's very individual to families in India, right? I mean, it's one of those things that, as I understand it, it's bequeathed in a dowry even when you get married, right?
Yes, you're quite right there. And it depends on the region, the spices available and so forth as well.
Okay, so, I don't want to slow you up.
No,
so
that's fine.
We fill up the pockets.
That's it. All we do is we let it cool, like we said. We fill these up. And then what we're going to do...
And where does the garam go? Does it go into that?
Yes, the garam masala would have been mixed into this.
Mixed into that, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
So we mix everything into this. Once it's kind of evaporated, which would take another 10 minutes or so.
About 30 seconds left.
Okay, so that's it. Basically, we put these on, we put our garnishes on. I have some pomegranate seeds here, which taste delicious because you get the sweet and sour combination. I have some red onions that I've marinated in lime juice in here.
How colorful.
And then if we like a bit of spice, we can also add some jalapenos to our toppings.
I like it. Can I take one? I'm going to try one of these if I may.
Please,
yes?
absolutely.
I want to remind everybody that before we go, the forecast. Well, the forecast's on our website too, by the way. But the recipe for this, for Deepa's recipe, is and video instructions on our website, mysuncoast.com. Check it out. Deepa, thanks so much for coming in today.
Welcome. Thank
you.
you.
So do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely delightful.
Nice to be here. Thank you. Delicious.
All right, good.
Good.
That's really good.
No soggy bottom on that, right?
No soggy bottom whatsoever.
That's what I like to hear.
Delicious.